Whoa. Hey family, how you doing? This is your brother Vladimir Dees. And this is Mtima Radi, everybody. Mtima Radi, Soul Lightning. How y'all doing? Start off as always. Peace to you, peace to your home, peace to your family, peace to your ancestry, peace to your community, peace to my community, peace to my ancestry, and peace to the nation that you, I, and they are creating. Peace also to the grandfathers, grandelders, grandmothers of the four sacred cardinal directions. Also peace to the great spirit above and to the mother earth below. Peace to all of y'all. Peace to the Trinity, of course. To Set, Asar, and Haru. For we are Haru arising. Alright, y'all. So I've been doing a little bit of thinking on me too. First and foremost, I want to point out the fact that it's pretty strange that you have Black Lives Matter, which leads supposedly to White Lives Matter, and then after White Lives Matter you get Me Too. Think about that progression. Black Lives Matter, no. White Lives Matter, Me Too, I matter too. The Me Too movement, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the thing though. We know we are coming into the era of the Black Goddess. We know this is happening. We know that the Black ancestry is rising up and is really starting to make its presence known on this planet. We also know that prophetically we are entering a time period where Black people are supposed to rise and take control of the planet. We know this. All of these things, you check prophecy, it's there. Well, here's the thing, and I do mean this. Here's the thing. Why then are we seeing the sun move and push towards accepting and acknowledging, not accepting, but acknowledging white women, and particularly Black women in the community to the point where we are seeing Black women almost placed as the head of the Black community? Why are we seeing this? We're seeing this because white folks have determined, one, that's where the power is. They're not stupid. They know that the only way that you can really exterminate Black people is you have to control the source where Black people come from. That means you have to control Black women. Secondly, they understand that the priests really, because they're multiple in the Black community, are going to come through Black women. So what are they doing? They're trying to ensure that whenever those priests come through, those Harus, those high Harus, may I say, not to mention Osiris in them. I mean, the whole body is coming back. The body, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know about the body of Christ, they call it the body of Christ. This is all related to Egypt. They want to make sure that if these genetic lines open up and push out a Messiah, that Messiah also has white blood. They want to be able to claim those lines for themselves. That is what race has been about. They want to claim all of those lines for themselves. This is why you see Native Americans now appearing to be almost all white, because they're trying, they infected and infiltrated Native Americans groups so that they could try to control those lines, those lineage lines, so that then when the Native Americans produce messiahs, they can have them. That'll be a controlling mechanism. That's also why they've been pushing women's choice and abortion for Black people particularly, because they're trying to interrupt those lines from producing messiahs. Now we need to understand something, because this is not something that Black folks we like to talk about. There are still two different Europeans. There's Europeans, and then there's the white folks, and it's kind of weird to think about that. But your Germanic tribes seem to be the displacers. They're the usurpers in Europe. I'm not letting anybody off the hook. I'm telling you though that this is historically factual. There's other groups that also came in and displaced other indigenous Europeans. Why is this important? Because they did the same thing. And we need to learn from history. They went into Europe, displaced the entire indigenous groups, and took over those lines wherever they could. And if they couldn't, they tried to exterminate those lines, trying to stop the coming of any Messiah. If the one thing that, for some reason, I don't know why black folks have this problem, but we believe constantly that all white folks do is lie. And I believe it's Amos Wilson who said, white folks write a lot of things without black people in mind that they're actually telling the truth in. And we should learn how to listen to them when they're talking amongst themselves, and then we find out and we find what they've said. We need to start listening to them and understanding who they are based on what they say about themselves. You read the book of Revelations, and we all want to look at it from a metaphysical standpoint, wherein the reality is we also need to just look at it for what it is. I mean, yes, there's details and there's acronyms, metaphors, and all this other stuff in there that we need to decode. Yes, but we can learn something about white folks by looking at the book of Revelations. What is that? The book of Revelations is all about the battle between good and evil, and it is about the coming of the dark one, which in this case they're not talking about the black one, but the coming of the devil before Christ, and how Christ is going to come and then smote the devil and everything's going to be great. Okay, here's my question. Why would God himself want the devil to come back in order to then send his son to smite the devil? This is telling you something about their psychology. They're trying to bring about the usurpation, because if there's that much evil in the world, the Messiah will never get through, and they know this. They want the Messiah in place, so that then the Messiah can do what Pharaoh did, or was it Pharaoh? King did to Jesus, which was send out his henchmen to find him and kill him. Now, mind you, there's never just going to be one Messiah. It's always going to be multiples. It's always going to be a very stout effort to push the planet forward in a new direction. We've had this a couple of times in the past 300 years. They're trying to stop this from happening. In fact, they're trying to stop it on all levels. It's not just about black people. It's not just about red people. It's not just about yellow. And by the way, these are all rays of the sunshine that I'm talking about. I'm not really, talking about, red and yellow people, but these are lineages and rays. They don't even want the soul of beings throughout the world opening up. This is why they've kidnapped music, and they are using music now to pretty much shut down our intelligences. That's why they're doing all of this. We need to be cognizant of that. We need to be very cognizant of that. Now, back to the original point. Me Too is latching she who is not producing a new future to she who is. It is no secret white women are having problems with pregnancy. It's no secret. White men are having problems with pregnancy. No secret. Or, well, with impregnating their women. This is a physical representation of a spiritual condition. This isn't something, by the way, that I am celebrating or that I'm putting out there for us to celebrate. This is a reality. At the same time, white women are deciding to have fewer and fewer children for many reasons. For many reasons. They're also, at the same time, having many more children with non-white men. Now, and of course, white men are having children, a lot of children, with a lot of non-white females. This is huge. Now, part of the reason for this is also connected to the fact that the sun is changing. And I like to say that there's this natural clock that's ticking within them, where they know if they don't get some melanin around their children, say goodbye. I've had conversations, I'm in the Northeast, and so it's summer now, and it can get very hot here in the Northeast if you've never lived here. And so I've had many conversations with people over the last few weeks, as temperatures have hit 80 and 90, about how beautiful it is. I love it. I do. It's absolutely great. I love the weather. Almost to a T, though, they don't. Very few white folks I talk to love the weather. Most of them hate it. Which is funny because most of them hate the winter too. But they just can't make them happy. But they do. Most of them hate it, and I found that very interesting. So the sun is changing, and they know. I apologize. I'm reading something, and they know if they don't get any melanin around their children, then it's over. It's done. Goodbye. See you later. And I would even argue that is why many white people are acting black, why they're adopting so much of black culture. I was on one of my favorite YouTube channels. I think it's Hezekiah News, and he had a special a clip that was taken from, I don't know, it was like 2020 or something, from 1999, talking about white kids adopting black culture. And it's pretty amazing how far such adaptation, which we now call appropriation, which really just is stealing, black culture has gone. And I think that it is a way of the spirit in white folks to try to mimic us, to try to kind of get on board that ship that's going to, keep us alive through the coming turmoil. I'm not saying all of us are going to live, but a lot of us are. And so we are seeing a lot of white women really attached to black women, so that black women, as they are creating this future, which a lot of black women don't even understand, that their power is going to be coming in dramatically in the next 5 to 10 years as we move through the gateway of 2020, and then boom, we move through the second gateway, 2025. Well, it's technically not a second gateway, but it's like a magnifier, 2025, 2030-ish. And white women are gravitating towards black women to try to get in on that energy, because black women are going to be the severe creators of the coming future, and they know it. Now, to all of my mixed children who do not understand the value in which you have been given, many of you think that the treasure that you hold is the whiteness in your blood. It is not. The treasure that you hold is the blackness. And if you fail to utilize it correctly, many of you are going to manipulate people utilizing it. There will be consequences. There will be severe consequences, and you will start to see them almost immediately as soon as we pass by or we pass through this gateway in 2020. So, you might want to cherish what you got and utilize it for the help of black people, because the ancestors ain't playing with you. Trust me when I tell you that. Alright, so that concludes today's episode. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know. I'd love to hear from y'all. By the way, kind of as a last note, big fan of jazz, and I don't know how many of you know about Thelonious Monk, but absolutely brilliant composer, and I think as we, as black people, as we kind of start really moving towards 2020, we need to really dip ourselves back into these great composers to kind of remind ourselves of who we are and what we are, so we can start remaking the world one song at a time. Start listening to the classics. Start understanding what soul really is, what R&B really is, what hip hop really is. Read KRS's, which you can get it online. KRS, I think it was KRS, maybe it was Africa Bombarded. Anyway, but there's actually a small booklet that you can get that explains what hip hop is about, and it's not this crap that we keep hearing about, where it's, oh, you share it with everybody. No, it's not that crap. That's that appropriation talk. Hip hop was supposed to be something dynamic. It was supposed to be something radical. It was supposed to be something time altering, life altering, and what have you. And the crap that we have today is not hip hop. So we need to really get back into this stuff and really understand what we're doing, because we have been mistaught. We don't get the power in music that we control. Not them. We control it. Every form of music. And I remember watching the clip where Michael Jackson said this, and all of you guys slept on that. So many of you guys, not all of you, but so many of you slept on it. Every form of music owes to us. We did the best work. When you hear people like Journey, you hear Aerosmith, all of these people who we are now saying, oh, that's white music. That ain't white music. Aerosmith is doing a horrible rendition of a black soul star. That's what he's doing. Or not even a soul star, a scat man and a jazz man. That's what he's doing. Aerosmith. The same thing with John Bon Jovi. The same thing. Well, Journey, it's a little bit different, but they're doing black music too. You have no rock in the 1980s and 1970s that cannot trace itself back to black music. Understand that. And we need to take this stuff back, and we need to reproduce it. One of my local radio stations was advertising something that was coming up, and said that there would be this group called the James Brown Experience there. I didn't even look them up yet, but this was going to be a white audience, and I'm pretty confident that the majority of the people in the band that they mentioned would probably be white. How long before you see white people trying to imitate James Brown? Right now, they haven't, because they ain't that stupid. But you now have a scenario where white people are considered the best in black culture. Where at my job I was watching whatever, I don't even know what the show's called, but Fergie is the host of it, and it stunned me as she was introducing the show. I didn't even know it was her first, whereas she introduced it in a way that you used to only hear black women speaking. And I actually had to look to see who it was, because I'm like, oh, who is this? Who they got up there? And I'm, whoa, wait a minute, this is a white woman. What? This this is the point. When you have, like, Christina Aguilera is considered soul music right now. Adele is considered soul music. What is it? Joss Stone is considered really great jazz music. I mean, this is an appropriation, family. This is outright thievery. I have heard black people on YouTube, incredible singers. I mean, incredible singers. These are soul singers, these black folks. Yet they ain't never gonna get no record label to sign them because they are real singers. I guarantee there's great composers that can't get signed or can't get work. Just like there's great instrument players, instrumentalists, I believe is the name. And we aren't doing anything to promote these people, to bring these people up, to make sure that our culture is being replenished. And we need to. And we need to. Alright, so that's all. That's all. Questions, comments, concerns, leave them below. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.